We are alive, folks, and this is great news. Welcome to Phoenix Business Exchange, East End Edition, on this fine July 22nd. Wow, the summer is just cruising along, and hopefully you're keeping comfortable at it's only 14 degrees Celsius according to my computer outside, which is, that's doable. That's doable. I'm sure we're going to get that slogging heat downstream soon enough. I'm going to share a screen, and it's going to be our Phoenix website, pbex.ca. And it helps if I don't actually hit the right buttons there. There we go. And you should be seeing the website, pbex.ca. Member of the week is Kelly Harrigan. You want to know about Kelly a bit more? Click on the red button here that says Kelly's e-card, or take a gander at what she does for a living in that particular space. Hey, you want to join any of these meetings? We've got three buttons, but wait, there's even a fourth one. So the three buttons are links to Zoom. So Monday at 8 to 9 Eastern, Monday morning, Wednesday morning, obviously 8 to 9 Eastern, and Thursday, same thing. And that's the South End group. And then on July 28th, there's a 7 p.m. after hours group for Phoenix members. It's about staying accountable, staying on target with your goals. And Penny Prevo is the host for that. Upcoming member events, click here. Canada Growth Network is on Mondays at 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern, free to attend. Our speaker for that is going to be Alan Stevens, and he's a face profiler. So he does that stuff. East Trade Winds is meeting on Tuesday, 8 to 9 Eastern, free to attend also. We get a fair number of people. In both groups, we get people from across the globe, but it's Canadian-centric. Bill's Corners, at Hive in person. Well, that's passed. So click Carriage Turn. We'll have one set up for August. QR directory for all members. So if you want to know, someone's talking today and going, hey, I want to know more about that. Like Wendy's going to be talking about real estate, or Susan's going to talk about Melaleuca, or Eric might talk about taxes again, oddly enough. Click the button and drill in and find us, or find them, I should say. If you're part of Phoenix, kind of a couple benefits you have here is you end up getting yourself marketed and presented to other people so that you can be showcased, and that's really key. Part of that package also includes an e-card, which makes it super easy for people to find you without as much friction. And what that means is if you want to be contacted by email, phone, text, you can pipe it into your e-card, and there you go. $5 million worth of business since 2016 was conducted between Phoenix members. Year to date is 33,013. So that's the total aggregate of business transactions between members. I'm going to hit the stop share button, and I'm going to swing over to Tony for the educational moment. Over to you, Tony.
Okay, thanks a lot, Bernie. I was looking at some of the goals that I've gone through, and it reminded me of a post I saw a little while ago. It was Jim Rohns. He's a very big keynote speaker. He has 6 different ways of how you could set up your goals and reflect and how you can attain them. One of the first things he says is that reflect your life based on your standards. Like, what standard do you hold? If somebody brings something to you, whatever it is, whether it's a car, a lead, a client, a job you need to do, how do you do it? Is it something that you're just looking for the transaction so that you can make the sale, or is it something you're going to take pride in and really encompass to do a phenomenal job over the top so that you get that? That comes from your internal standard. That's your work ethic. And that's what I think, in many cases, my own opinion, of course, is where our country is sadly lacking in many cases. How often do you go into a store and nobody serves you? How often do you go into a restaurant and you have to wait 20 minutes before someone will come and say, oh, can I take your order? Or, how is it going today? Can I get you a drink? That's happened to me a few times. So it's the standard in which the you will not go below. The second one is, economy is not why you're broke. He says basically the economy is the way it is, and as soon as we start blaming the economy, something happens to our psyche where little ideas start coming to you. In other words, when you blame something, where you blame it could be the competition. You're blaming the economy. You're blaming the government. You're blaming whatever it is. Automatically, you detach from any decisions you're going to start making, which means that when you look at, okay, no one's here to bring that level of success to me. I got to go get it. So we start making decisions, and financial situations start coming up. He says, okay, I could do this, regardless whether it's a recession or the bulk of the economy. Because keep in mind, there are still people going bankrupt at the height of the economy. So it's not just that. Another one is nobody is coming to save you. They say that not the government, not family, not luck. He says the day you stop waiting for a rescue means that you'll begin building the life you actually want. Another one is number 4 is excuses is more expensive than your problems. The things that we use, oh, this is why I couldn't make it. This is why that I can't be on social media. This is why that I can't hit, let's say your threshold is 10,000 a month in sales or 50,000 a month, because and you give a series of reasons why you can't do those things. So be careful of the excuses that you do, because, again, it detaches from the real solution that you come. Successful people always have problems, but they have little excuses. Yet unsuccessful people have both problems, and they use excuses to justify for them. Number 5 is you are exactly where your habits have taken you. What habits do you have that is all about success? If you wake up in the morning and you got a regimen, things that you need to do at a certain time, the personal stuff, yes, like, wash up and so on, take the dog for a walk, do all those things. And when do you do all of that? Some people get up and they look right at their phone and start looking at emails while they're in bed. Okay, so this starts the whole day off where other people have control over your time. He says to stop doing that. Habits, it's always you first. No matter what happens, regardless. This is why if Kelly was here, she used to be a flight attendant, is that if there is a decompressurization in their cabin while they're flying, you always got to put your mask on first before you put on your child's. So it's always you first. Number 6, most people that have called you friends are limiting your ceiling. He says that the wrong circle of friends and the wrong people that are surrounding you, which are the same thing, whether it's groups like this or whether it's just your circle of 5 or 10 friends, they will lower and you will lower your standards and lower your expectation, because the conversation that goes on around your group, around your circle, is the way that you will start working. One last thing. With this one guy on Facebook had put up a metronome. You know what a metronome is? That's the thing in music where it goes tick, 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 right? So he put up one of those, and it did its thing. And then he put up 3 of them. 3. And he staggered them. So he started one with one, and then another one. It was that. So when all 3 were going, they were all going at a different time, right? So within about 2.5 minutes, all of them were going tick, 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 tick. He says, why would that be if they're all adjusted to the same time? Because energetically, the universe wants to balance everything, regardless whether the timing is off. Once the timing is on. So he says, you know what? This happened with 3. Let's try 100. He did the same thing with 100. He put 100 all over the floor in this big room, and he started getting them all going, and it was just one racket at a time. And then about roughly just under 5 minutes, all of them had one click. 100 were doing this. And they all had the same time. So your logic would tell you that there's no possible way that they would align. But they do. That's the same thing happens to your friends. You will align with the people that you are surrounded with. Back to you, Bernie.
Tony, thank you so much. And quick prompt here is I also put in the LinkedIn feed so you can directly fire into that. Alan Stevens is speaking at the Power Hour on Monday, and I'll swing the mic over to Susan Ebbs and then go to Sam. Susan, what's happening? Welcome
Good
back.
morning, one and all. This weather is changing up to be a little bit chilly this morning, but I'm sure we'll get our hot weather back soon. I'd like to introduce Melaleuca.com. We provide non-toxic cleaning products, and the one I'd like to showcase today is Diamond Bright. Comes in liquid format or in the pucks if you prefer. And what's the beauty of Diamond Bright? A little goes a long way. You only need about a dime size of the liquid to be able to wash your whole dishwashing schedule. So you're saving yourself money right there. Also, you're not spewing chemicals into the air as you do the dishes. And guess what? When we do our dishes, they get the chemicals are on those dishes with other products, and that's what we're eating. So why are we wanting to get rid of that? Well, it's to help improve our health, get rid of things like autism and ADHD, which are running rampant in today's society. So again, melaleuca.com, and we help you to detoxify your home. BAMS wise, I went and got my oil topped up with Sam this week. And so now I'm just raring down the highway there. Thank you, Sam. Ongoing business with Penny Lee. And who else? Let me see. Wayne Pratt and I have been coordinating with his new book. So looking towards working with him on that. And so that's my report for today. Thank you.
Susan, thank you so much. Next quick prompt is the golf tournament. That's August, coming up in August. August, I believe it's 14th. Yep, good. And so it's the oh my gosh, I'm going that blank screen. Oh no, white screen, tabula rasa. St. Louis Bar and Grill out of Innovation Drive, and it's all in support of the Canada Food Cupboard. So $175 gets you 18 holes, a larger community, so you get a chance to meet other businesses. So good place to come in and work the golf course. Sam, over to you, and then we will go to Wendy. Sam, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Bernie. Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday to you all. Sam Sturz, connectedcars.ca. There's my contact information in the chat line. Dash cameras are my main thing, but also do all changes, brake jobs, things like that. And these days, car cleaning for customers when the weather's nice. I'm at the cottage right now, so I'm going to be away for a couple of weeks out of Ottawa, but I'm actually had two calls already since being here, and both customers are willing to wait till I get back, which is a very nice compliment. So I'm at our cottage here in Port Stanley, as I mentioned. But I'm going to talk about BAMs that I've had in the last week there. Susan Ebbs mentioned the one that I did an oil change just before I left for the cottage for her. But the other one is Wendy Chung. She gave me a referral to a young man with a car to get a car cleaned. And lo and behold, this young man loves his car so much. He had me clean it, and it has 403,000 kilometers on it. That is amazing distance on any car, as far as I'm concerned. But the fact that he still loves it enough to have me spend 4 hours cleaning it is a compliment to the car because he obviously cares a lot about it. Also mentioning BAMS wise is Eric Sinego. I did a brake work on his car. There was a defect in one of the brake rotors, and repaired that for him, and got him a discount on the a rebate, I should say, on the price of the rotor that was defective. That's it for me, Sam Sturz, connectedcars.ca. Today's mobile electronics without the cost of a vehicle, and a lot more.
Sam, thank you so much. And next quick promo is it's about Cat Herd. So if you got social media content you want to share through the Phoenix social media channels, reach out to Kat, Wendy, and then over to Eric. Go ahead, Wendy.
Thank you very much, Bernie. Wendy Chung, real estate broker with Century 21 Synergy and the Ottawa Housing Condo Group. Sam, you know what they say. If you want to be busy, book a vacation. Your phone starts ringing and you're scrambling to try to get back to people. So that's great. Today I want to talk a little bit about painting. I've recently have a number of clients who want to sell their home and they have a very small timeline to do it. And the importance of painting. You know, the way we live, we always have scuffs on the wall or we've got lots of holes because we personalize our homes and we hang up a lot of pictures, personal photos as well as artwork. But it's so important to give a nice fresh coat of paint on your walls because that sort of helps with the energy in the house when people walk through. They feel like it's not a home that's been well lived in, but rather a home that's being, I guess, renewed for the next family who wants to come to the door. So painting actually gets you about 90% of your price when you're listing your home for sale. So it is really important to paint. In terms of bands, I don't have anything to report, but I have ongoing business with Susan Ebbs and Kat Hurd, and of course, Tony and Sam. I'm going to catch you when you get back from your vacation. My car can do with some nice cleaning. So thank you very much, everyone, and have a great week.
Wendy, that's awesome. And good luck on the getting to the 400,000 click mark. That's important. Uh, East Trade Winds, Stefan Serduk, he's out of Montreal. He's a leadership coach. He helps medium to large companies stay on track and actually do kind of really good choices. Eric, over to you, sir.
Yeah, yep. This is Eric Sonego at Eric's at Cote and Associates Professional Corporation. I'm sorry, I was doing something else. I'm the only one here this week, so I have my I have the doorbell going, the coffee machine blanking, you name it, it's happening to me this week. So Cote and Associates, we have an office in Ottawa. We have 8 offices in Canada. We are looking to buy 2 or 3 more accounting practices in Ontario, so we can be more. Ontario is a big province, so we need coverage in areas that we are not in today, like Northern Ontario and mid and Southern Ontario, the Barrie area, and so on. We're concentrated in Southern Ontario, most of our offices, so that we have in Ontario. So we're looking to expand in that area. I personally specialize in doing taxes for people who get progressively complicated, but they don't know they're getting progressively complicated, and they make the mistake of going to Staples and buying the tax software, and that has created a bit of a problem in Canada, because a lot of people are suing now Intuit, who made that tax software. But we clean up what the tax software did. We have tax software as well that we do taxes with, but my software costs $3,000 a year to do just personal taxes. $3,000 to do corporate taxes. That's $6,000 as opposed to $149.99 at Staples. So ask yourself, what's the difference? Okay, what's the difference? And if my software makes a mistake, they come in and they pay any penalties or anything that the client may have incurred. You don't have to sue them. You don't have to do anything. But I've been using them for 30 years and they've never made a mistake. So there you go. So we also do year ends, which is what I'm doing now. Okay, year ends and tax returns and things like that, and financial statements and corporate tax returns. And we answer the phone and answer the queries of CRA, which are getting out of hand. So we we have to employ one person now just to deal with CRA with their inquiries. So we do all of that. We bring reason to numbers and numbers to reason. And I will put everything about who we are on the chat line. 613-254-7310.
Eric,
Thanks,
thank
Bernie.
you so. Not a problem. Next item is one of the guests at East Tradewinds has something that's it's either in person, so if you happen to be in Troy, Michigan, there you go, or online. Masango Mwaka, and it's a for $50 US. You get different leadership views on production and process. Jacqueline, over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. And I know a couple days ago I walked out into the rain because sometimes it feels great to have that fresh, warm water against your face, understanding that when you take that long, deep breath and you lift your shoulders, you take them back and you release them down, you think, what a beautiful day to begin and make some decisions that need to be made. And that's how my clients are feeling. Decisions need to be made, even though they've done well, maybe not now. Well, maybe not now. Well, maybe next week. Well, maybe in a month. It happens. And I'm here to suggest to you the conversation needs to continue. Even though Bank of Canada did not raise their rates, maybe you want to take a look at your credit score because now is now, in a month is a month. Let's take a look at your credit scores. There's 3 numbers on your credit score with Equifax or TransUnion that makes a difference with those next conversations that you'd had with me about refinancing a new mortgage, and maybe you're helping a family member. When you're looking for strategies for your mortgage money, you know you need to contact your mortgage honey.
Any BAMs?
Well, on Tuesday, thank you so much, Bernie. That was great. I have and the referral, Melissa and I are supposed to be connecting. We had a great conversation. And thank you very much, Tony, for our meeting last Thursday. Very much looking forward to next week because I know that there's a couple of meetings that I'd love to have. I can't have one with Sam right now, but there's a couple other meetings I'd love to have. And thank you, Wendy, on that note. Thank you, Wendy. Yeah.
All right, and see if I can get this out the gate. There is a Mr. Eric Sonego was speaking a couple Mondays ago, and so he's now on a podcast and speaks to the CRA issues. There's the podcast link. You can watch it on YouTube or just check it out on the blog. And I'm trying to copy the one document here and see if it'll launch. There we go. That's the image that goes with it. That's Eric being dapper and charming. Over to Tony.
Thanks a lot, Bernie. Yay, Kat, you're back. It's awesome. Barry, I missed you. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, just extending a little bit of what Jacqueline was saying. Yes, the rain does clear energy. In fact, I was talking to a lady yesterday that has a very vibrant 14-year-old. And the moment she comes home, she has to go right into the shower to clear the energy off of whoever she was with that day or whatever the day is. And if it's raining, it says go outside and run in the rain barefoot. By the time she comes in, she's a totally changed teenager. Totally. So there's a lot to that. So thank you for the reminder, Jacqueline. I'm Tony Jennis from Higher Self. I look at everything through energy. I'm a clairvoyant medium, but the main part there is I deal with people that have PTSD, high stress. If someone's about to go on stress leave, send them to me. Chances are we could correct that and they'd be back to work. The only reason that they're going on stress leave is they're trying to find an outlet or a release that will be able to make them so they can cope. And we could do that in 2, maybe 3 sessions. We don't even need that much. So if you know somebody that is going through a lot of stress, somebody has passed, and the people that are still here are having a rough time for it, have them come to me. There's so many things that we could do in that way. Ultimately, to connect to the person that left, because they haven't gone anywhere. They're still around them. They're just in a different form. It's like they're in the kitchen and you're in the living room. You can still hear them, but their relationship has changed, but it's not a total loss. So, Tony Jennis from Higher Self, we are here to raise your spirits, and we do have our sound bath tonight, starting at 7 p.m. for 2 hours. It's an experience you will not forget. We're going to be talking about the inner work, the inner energies that you have, and we have an amazing technique that you will do over the 2 hours. So bring any questions you have, anything you want answered that you haven't toyed with, you don't know what to choose. Bring that. By the end, you'll have an answer. All right. Tony Jennis, Higher Self. We are here to raise your spirits, and the ongoing business with Eric. And he's doing the Phoenix taxes, and in another company that we own. The Josh just fixed our SMS, so I'm pretty happy about that. And Susan McGarry did some business with her, and Bernie, great meeting on the East Trade Winds there, buddy. That's awesome. So looking forward to another great week.
Perfect. And for myself, well, I do podcasting and I do promotion and I do cross connecting. And Eric's a good example of that. So, Eric, thank you for letting me use your persona, because actually it's a really good message. East Trade Winds, Tony, Jacqueline were there, Carl was there. So there's, it just again contributing to the overall flow of information. Our speaker this past Tuesday was talking about connecting newcomers to Canada and then how to network. So he has a whole repertoire in that particular space. So that's kind of the nature of the beast. And what am I looking for? I'm looking for interesting people to have chats with. And, they can come to the Canada Growth Network or East Trade Winds. They're free events, no obligation out of it. And if you show up once, you can show up 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, or the following week. All is good. And we're also looking for speakers in those spaces too. So if that's something you want to do, let me know. Even though it might be international content or international folks, you never know. They might be coming to Canada. You might need their breaks done. And with all that said, speaking of international, Madam Cat, over to you.
So, hi everybody. So, where I want to start is kind of like a strange place. So, I've just come back from vacation, and what do most people do on vacation? They go and they chill and relax. This is me. That's not me. I am a very nosy person who wants to know what's going on with anything and everything. I don't mean I'm going up and asking people their private lives. What I mean is I want to know, you've got a small business. How do you market it? How do you get business? What's working for you? What's not working for you? So it's kind of like a busman's holiday. So I don't know if you're familiar with Cyprus. It's a huge country. Well, it's not huge, not like Canada huge, but it's huge compared to the UK. And it has a lot of tourism. That's what it thrives on. And I know Canada does a little bit too. So they have a lot of tourist attractions, for want of a way of saying it. So that could be an excursion, it could be a place to visit, it could be an archaeological site, it could be a bar, it could be they've got historical restaurants, all kinds of stuff. And you might find they're in Canada too. I've never been, so I can't comment. But the interesting thing is how people choose to market their business. And there are no two small businesses that market the same way. So you've got people that do everything through word of mouth, and they go, do you know what? We're fantastic at whatever it is we do. All of our customers are going to go and tell all of their friends, their families, people they meet on the sun lounges around the pool, and we're going to get business that way. There's other people that rely heavily on a website. There's people that rely heavily on printed materials. So that could be a flyer, it could be a billboard, It could be the A-frames that go on top of vehicles that say, hey, in our bar, we've got this entertainment tonight. It could be collaboration. So that one for me was a big thing. A lot of the businesses cross collaborate. So that could be you go on one excursion and it promotes another excursion. Or it could be you go to one excursion and you find flyers for another one. Nobody mentions the second company, but there's flyers available. So what I was kind of looking at was not only how are they putting it out, but it's what messaging are they putting out. So some of the flyers and billboards and things that I was looking at, there was information for me that was missing. And the reason I'm mentioning is not that I'm trying to sell Cyprus to you, not that I'm trying to say that you should sell tourism. I mean, if you want to, go ahead. But it's how there are so many different ways of marketing your business. And what I've given you are examples of that you can put in with your businesses, but obviously about your content, not tourism stuff. But a lot of the printed materials and the physical things you could see, there was missing information. So I want you to think about when you're putting out your messaging. So whether it's on a social media channel, whether it's on your Facebook, you maybe don't use your own social media. You maybe promote through a third party, whether it's their social media, a third party website, a magazine, a newspaper, whatever it is. What information are you putting out about your company? Is it saying, hey, I'm Sam, I do oil changes? Or is it actually talking about why we should hire Sam to do our oil change? Is it telling us how we can contact him? Is it giving us inspiration on previous customer experience? Because what I was finding from a lot of the things I was reading was not only was it full of spelling mistakes, because obviously you think in Greek and you've got to write in English and it comes full of spelling and grammar mistakes, but hey, you've got to give them something for that. But there was a lot of stuff that's like, well, how long is a trip? Well, it doesn't say. And where does it depart from? Doesn't say. How do I book it? It doesn't say. Or there's a website link that doesn't work because they've changed their website and forgot to update the flyer. So all of those things create issues. Not all of them actually provide you with customer feedback. So for me, if it's something I've never done before, so if I've never gone to Jacqueline and bought a mortgage, I want to hear that I'm assuming she sold mortgages to other people. I want to hear what was their experience working with her. Because you're basically trying to sell yourself when you're doing all this kind of marketing, because it is a very difficult thing to do, is put yourself out there and put yourself in the mindset of your customer. But if your customer doesn't get why they want to work with you, and they don't get what it is you even do, and even if by some miracle they know who you are, what you are, and why you are, and they want to do business, and you don't give them a means to do that, then what's the point? So my question to you today is not only where are you marketing? So think about where you're marketing. So is it physical marketing? Is it digital marketing? What mediums are you using for your physical marketing or your digital marketing? Are you spreading yourself wide enough that people can find you? Or are you just doing it to a tiny amount of people? And for some of you, you maybe need it super small, because like, I am assuming if 10,000 people turned up on Sam's door, he isn't going to be able to service all of their cars. Not all at the same time, unless he has a team of robots. But you might find that Susan could sell 10,000 bottles of Melaleuca cleaning product all at the same time, because that's what she does. So it's looking at what you're doing, how you can manage it, and how you can reach those people, and making sure that you're accessible. Does that make sense? So my next thing I want to say to you is, how can I help you? And I'm not trying to sell you a product. How can I help you to put yourself in front of where you want to be? So if somebody has a question they want to ask about a particular type of marketing, if somebody wants to know how they can, cross pollinate, if that's the right word, cross market with somebody else, then now is the time to speak. We're amongst friends. So let's take this opportunity for how we can market our business. So if you have a question about marketing, I'm here. Hit me with it. Wow.
So for marketing, do you find that usually having a video, having sound is also good for the messaging? Is that something that we should always focus on? Not everything can be. Sometimes, it's static image. But do you find that you have a better uptake, for lack of better words, or
So
click through? Good.
yes and no. So it depends on A, your product, and B, your audience, but obviously, more importantly, the platform. So for example, if you're going to use Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, it really needs to be video. Having a combination on things like Facebook and LinkedIn, or even X, is fantastic. It works really well, putting out a video about your product and then a text only post and then doing image and text. The combination works. But what I will emphasize is, please do not do what the stupid people do, which is create video content that does not have captions. Every video you put out, you should run through something like CapCut. Doesn't have to be that product. It could be any other closed caption software that can create the content. YouTube is slightly different because YouTube has the option in the settings for individual users to turn on captions. So it can play a video and it can do it by default. But everything else, there's a proven statistic that said most, especially millennials, will not watch video content with the sound on. They tend to read the captions on the video. So as long as you have the captions as well as the sound, Bernie, that will totally work. And don't use music. If you're going to use music in a video, don't use copyrighted music. Make sure it's all royalty free, unless you have specific licensing.
If you have specific licensing, what is that format? Like, let's say, there's a tune you like Aerosmith or you like Led Zeppelin or something like that, and you're gonna capture that sound bite. What are the rules of engagement? Is it don't bother, too expensive,
It
or is there a path?
depends where you get it from. So for example, some platforms like Facebook will allow you to use it for that video. So you don't own that video, you can't download that video, but you can play it with that video on that platform. So it's basically you're streaming that, and that's totally fine. But if you're going to take a video that you're going to create yourself, that you're going to download and you're going to use it as your brand marketing and you're going to plaster it everywhere, it is depending on what piece of music you want. Classical is probably cheaper because a lot of it is older.
Yeah.
You're going to have to contact like record labels and producers and ask for that kind of permission. And it's either going to cost you a fortune or you're not going to get a response. So just be very select what you want. I mean, I've done it myself when I've contacted record labels and asked them, not even for the music, if I can use images of like Robbie Williams and that kind of thing. I needed it for my dissertation. you
Yeah.
just got nothing back. But it is quite often expensive. So if you use what's on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you'll get away with it. Just don't download it and mass share it everywhere. Hey,
I
Wendy.
have a question for Kat. Kat, I'm going to have to talk to you a little more sort of on the side, but what I was noticing is that when I Google my name,
Yep.
not a lot comes up. And for the longest time, we thought that promoting our team name, which is Ottawa House and Condo Group, was
Mhm.
going to be the way to go, because when someone goes on Google, they might say Ottawa real estate, some of the keywords, not like Wendy or Craig or something like that. But what I find is, because when I Google my name, it doesn't associate with Ottawa House and Condo Group. I've got all these massive reviews on Ottawa House and Condo Group, but I can't get there by just Googling my name. So
So
I need
by
to
your
talk
name,
to
you
you
mean
about-
Wendy Chung?
Yes. So we need to talk about or strategize how we can make that connection, because it took so long for us to build up the Ottawa House and Condo Group, because that
Mhm.
name will continue to thrive even when I retire from real estate. I want that to continue, because it's a really good marketing, right? Like it's a great name and all of that, and we build a reputation. So I guess I'll just have to book a time to talk with you about that. How can we work together to somehow connect that together? I just feel there's a
So
disconnect. Yeah,
the quick answer to this question, Wendy, is Wendy Chung isn't actually marketed anywhere. So
correct.
with most companies, you're marketing the brand. So
Okay.
Ottawa House and Condo in your particular case is what people would look for.
Right.
But it would be using, I'm trying to put this in the simplest way, not for you, Wendy, but for people that are maybe not technical. It's not in hashtags. It's probably, but you don't have a website, so it's not going to be in meta tags. It's a question of, it's not going to be listed through your YouTube channel. So if anybody actually wants their specific name to come up rather than just the brand name, it needs to be infused through the entire brand. So it needs to be in the website in a particular way, in all of the marketing in a particular way. It needs to be in the hashtags. And for most people, you won't do it. I mean, if you Google me, you'll get my social media profiles, and that's about it, because I don't market myself as an individual person, because I don't want people to find me. I'd rather they find the brand. But it depends on how people want to do it. I mean, it might be, say, in Susan's case, she maybe doesn't want to keep pushing Melaleuca. I mean, obviously she sells Melaleuca, but she maybe wants in her own right to be known as Susan Ebbs, in which case it would be tweaked that way. But it just depends how you want to push yourself out, because people like Eric are probably going to want to push his brand rather than come to Eric, because he doesn't want every random person with a tax return to go to him. So it depends what you want to do. But I can certainly make it happen for you, Wendy. It's just I was pushing the brand, but I can push you and the brand. It's possible.
Okay. We'll definitely talk about that. So thank you,
Absolutely.
Kat. Yeah.
No
Thank
worries.
you.
Yeah, if I can just add to that a little bit, Kat, when you go to sell your business, Wendy, you're not selling Wendy, you're selling the Ottawa Housing Group, okay? And so it's very smart to really focus on the brand, because that's what they're buying. It's sort of a transparent name, and it's not because it's really hard to sell Wendy Chung as this great realtor to a person that's a different name. So they're not going to promote. So it's going to be it's not the greatest thing to sell. But Ottawa Housing Group, yeah, they will buy that because that's where the reviews are. That's where everybody's pointed to. And if you just said, oh, by the way, now it's Wendy Chung, but down the road it could be somebody else. So it's an easy sell. So it's strategy wise, it's good to whenever you decide to sell the file, you sell all your names and the group itself. It's smart.
Wendy, do you use any AI? Do you have a platform when you're not on mute?
Sorry, Bernie.
That's right.
What do you mean? Do I use AI in what capacity?
Do you use like do you have Claude? Do you have GPT or any of that stuff?
Yeah,
Okay.
I started using Claude, and I like it. I like it actually better
Okay.
than ChatGPT, and
Okay.
I
So
am utilizing it. But again, I use it as a template, but I go in and I customize it myself.
yeah,
I'm not.
yeah.
There's a lot of agents that are just relying on AI, and you can tell. But I still want to keep it real.
So
So yeah.
where I'm going with this is, okay, so it's developed. It's how long have you been using it? Have you been using it for a couple months or a year or what?
For Claude, I just started using it a couple weeks ago.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you can load in hi, my profile is. Ask it how you can load in you, so your brand, voice, etc. There's a couple reasons why I'm doing it, saying this. You want it to know as much about you as you want to share, right? And what you're going to do then is say the next prompt you're going to say, and give it a task as a promotional ads expert, whatever the case is. Review and look at me and how can I get my brand, my name out there, and then ask, and before you hit the enter key, ask me clarifying questions, right? And until I say stop. And what it's going to do, it's going to find out about you, and you put in your websites, and then you're going to go to the next, and then what are the things that you can leverage? Doesn't mean like you're working with Cat, still there, right? But what you're doing now is you're asking it and going, it's going to give you, listen, based on what I see about you, what I know about you, it'll help unfold things. And it might unfold things you already know and things you don't know, right? So the other thing is you have to make yourself AI searchable, which means then if you're doing a book, you're doing a podcast. Did I say podcast? You know, like I interviewed a guy in Los Angeles. All he does is SEO optimization. I said, well, he says the reason I go on podcasts, different podcasts, because it's an external source and it points to you, but it's not you. In other words, you're not doing self-promotion, right? It's just, you're dealing with a mortgage agency like Jacqueline, right? And she puts content in there, and it becomes flow. So it's LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever, wherever you find your clients, right? But it puts out a churn, right? And it says you're here, and then the AI bots can find it. When I did a analysis of the tiny URLs. So for every podcast, I converted into a tiny URL, and there are other things I do. They said, listen, tell me what I'm looking at after 2, 3 years of doing this. What's humanoid and what's bot, right? And half of it's bot, right? We're 20,000 hits on different links cumulatively. And it'll do an analysis and say, okay, part of that's bots, but that's a good thing because the bots now identify you or identify me or identify the person I'm talking to back, right? So it provides a source, right? So you leverage your Claude, but let it know more about you that you're willing to share. So it is a public domain. I mean, I wouldn't put your SIN number and your credit card numbers right in there, right? Or any of the key codes, like, to the nuclear
Not right
stuff.
away.
Oh no, not at all. I mean, there are people
No,
you
no.
should talk to if you're gonna use AI that has confidential information, then it stays behind on your desktop or in your behind your firewall. But that's a different story. What you're looking for is how do you get your name out there, and then you work with someone like Kat because she'll tell you this is the current stuff because AI is not always 100% either.
I mean, I would say the biggest thing, Wendy, is that the website that they've provided you, it doesn't really reference you. So when I speak to AI about Ottawa House and Condo, it has plenty of information about the business, but you don't appear in any of it, and neither does your husband. So it's a question of you need to be able to put content out so that AI can then pull all that stuff as well. And then it will help with a Google ranking.
We'll talk about that, Kat, definitely.
Yep.
Thank you for that.
Yep.
I
Do
appreciate
that.
it. Yeah.
It's correctable. It's something you can fix. Yeah.
Sometimes we spend too much time in formal marketing without knowing soft marketing. And I know in the case of Wendy and myself, we depend on soft marketing a great deal. That's the person who answers the phone. That's the person who meets the client. That's all of that. And that's the person that can dynamite your business.
Yep.
I just fired my receptionist because of that. After 6 months trying to train her to be customer centric, she could not do it. So we had to let her go, and we had to look for someone else. And at the same time, I have the national firm saying we're gonna go digital answering. We're gonna have the person. You won't need a receptionist. Hire an accountant to sit there rather than a receptionist. And I said no, because the people I deal with are used to talking to a person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I give my staff the example of the worst client we have, my wife. My wife is the worst client we have.
Oh, Eric.
Because she's demanding, because she wants answers right now, because she wants work right now, and she is like that because she's the wife of the boss. So, but I have clients who behave like my wife.
Yeah.
Right? I have clients who behave like my wife, and we need to have very tactful people working for us. And I tell Caroline, if someone has a headache or has a fight with her husband or wife, do not come to work. Work at home that day. And that's really where we have to. In the case of myself, that's really what I have to work constantly. Like if you piss off somebody, it doesn't matter what kind of a web page you have. It doesn't matter what kind of video content you have. It doesn't matter what kind of podcast you're doing with Bernie. You've lost them. You've lost them. So, and that person that is going to be pissed off is not going to be pissed off by you. It's going to be pissed off by someone working for you that you don't even talk to sometimes. That you don't spend that much money in training, that you don't think of that person as being part of the marketing. And that's what we have. That's what's looking at me at my right in front of my face right now. And that's what I have to change here. Anyways, that was my 2 cents. That's.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And Eric, when you're
You're
working
right.
at a hospital where you have 10,000 people wrapped around it on 24/7 shifts.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And they spend boatloads of money to get everybody to be nice people. I used to do nonviolent crisis intervention training, and one nurse said they were talking about someone who just lost. The emerge nurse got up on the desk and screamed at the in the lounge. Next person coming up to me with a problem, I'm gonna kick him out. And I'm thinking, okay, someone, that person's burnt out, right? There's no control, right? But that impression to that entire crowd, they're all potential donors, they're all potential loved ones, right? Whether they're sick or not. And it's like stuff happens, right? When you have a large crowd, right? But you're right. At the end of the day, that's the taste that's in your mouth because that's the most recent experience. And that's hard. That's hard, whether you're a crew of one or a crew of many, right?
Yes.
So you try to keep that happy space. Not enough take a deep breath and let your shoulders down moments were happening in that space. And I'm sitting there going, and she could have found another job inside the institution, right? I felt sorry for her. I felt sorry for the people in the room, but breaking points are bad. Or if you're having a bad day, yeah.
Yeah, that's why they have that sign. We don't tolerate violence as an option.
Well, yeah, that too, but
we
it's
don't
like
serve people that are angry. Well, there are some, people that will get right in your face, and they want to be served right now. It's understandable that if they have a bleeding child, that they want a priority. I get that, but somebody that has dry skin and they want it right now, that's a sort of it's a priority triage. But it's same in many businesses. Like how long does a person wait? Like in Eric's case, answering the phone sounds like an easy job, but it just when the phone is constantly running, and it probably is, there's always something that people are trying to check in on or find out about, and it's 2-minute phone call. It turns into 15 pretty quick.
Yep.
So it's a tolerance. And
On
it's
the
just
other side, every year I fire at least one client, one new client that comes in. I tell them that we cannot help them. If you abuse my staff, you're gone. You're gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like you're gone, because if you abuse my staff, as soon as you become our client, you're going to be abusing me. Right.
Yep.
And
You're
then,
not far.
and then it becomes a sticky situation, because you're saying, well, it's a good payer, but it's a lousy person. No, if you abuse my staff, you're gone. And
Mhm.
usually, my main staff is Carol Ann. That's my right arm. If you
Yep.
abuse Carol Ann, first of all, you are dynamiting your own self, because she's the one that's going to be dealing with your file more than I am. I just do the professional side of it, but I don't do the maintenance of the file. She's the one that's going to send you the invoice. You're the one that's going to discuss price with you, do all of that kind of stuff. So if you piss her off, and usually it's people in the construction industry who have trouble with women, usually that's who piss off Caroline, right? So in the last 3 years, I've fired 3 of them in the construction industry. I've said no. If you're an abuser, you're abusing the firm. You're not abusing Caroline. We cannot help you. And they were mad at me, because they thought they were in the rights to do that. But that's the first thing I do. I am no prisoners when it comes to abusing my staff. The second thing is, my staff has to be client centric. So if someone, if we do a real estate broker and a real estate agent from a different company, okay, if we do a broker and an agent, we have to treat both of them as if they were the only clients we have. Although the broker is going to be paying a lot higher fee than the income tax return for a real estate agent. But the real estate agent should be treated exactly the same way as a corporate agent, as a corporate person should be treated. And that takes years to get to and to practice. Because people look at the way their bread is butter, right? So if you're a $150 tax client, and the other person in the room is a $5,000 corporate client, they're going to be gravitating to the $5,000 client and being nicer to them than to the $150 tax client. And I say no, the $150 tax client at the time you're doing them is the only client. And that is the side of self-marketing that we're always working on. It's tough to do, and it takes a lot of professional training, and it takes a lot of seminars that we have to go. It takes a lot of courses we send our staff to just deal with someone neutral, just to be neutral with them. But I see it in my private life. My wife, we're going to Toronto this weekend, and my wife was trying to book a hotel, and the price on the webpage is not the same price as the person on the phone was calling her, and they were trying to explain to her why it wasn't the same price, and she said, "I don't have time for this. Goodbye." That is how the world acts. So if you're going to have a price on the website, the person answering the phone has to know that it's the same price.
Yep.
Right? They cannot say to you, "Well, that's the
Hey,
website. We charge $30 more because that's the website." right?
Well, I went to book a car through CAA for a road trip, and the guy says it's a $50 surcharge if I book the car in person. Versus, I mean, he was super polite versus you doing it online. He said, but I need to understand what the rates are. And I'm trying to compare apple to apple. Like, are you best choice or should I go through the Costco booking? Went through Costco. You win. It was he's trying to be helpful, so he did a good job. The structure of the system is to discourage you to do a face to face. I get that, but it's like just tell me. And he couldn't call up stuff without having to start that charging cycle. So they're boxing themselves in, right? So do I think lesser of them, and do I think more of Costco? Yeah, I think more of Costco.
Yeah. They want to go more to the self-service area because they don't need as many employees. So from both ends, but
Yes.
yeah, you're getting the consumer to work harder so they could pay whatever they're supposed to pay.
Well,
Yeah.
banks are the perfect example. When I go on holidays, I like to take U.S. cash with me. Well, I deal with a national bank. I went to 3 branches and they tell me the same thing. We don't have U.S. cash. Well, don't tell me that. Tell your bosses that you don't have U.S. cash. You're a bank. And they said to me, you have to order it 3 weeks ahead of time. Like they've
They don't
lost
even have any U.S. funds.
no, they lost the
$50.
Customer service does not exist.
Yeah, I probably have that in my jar or something from the last trip I made. I didn't
Yeah.
overspend. The
Yes.
bank doesn't have it.
They don't keep it on purpose because like that they don't have to employ anybody to manage it.
There you go.
Right.
That's the reason.
So you order
Yeah.
it by phone from your bank, and they send it to the branch, and you have to allow 3 weeks to do that.
Wow.
So
3 weeks. What, the Pony Express or what?
up to 3 weeks. That's the other thing. Where's it coming from? Baseline Road. So it takes you 3 weeks to go from Baseline
Oh,
Road.
someone's walking.
Right.
Here's $3,000. Go. I see it.
Right. So and the
Walk that
problem
in
is
one
that
day.
in small business we can't afford to do that. We are in the world of customer service.
Yeah.
We live in customer service, right?
Yeah, we do.
Y-
People
you know,
expect it.
If the national bank doesn't have customer service, don't worry too much about it because the CIBC doesn't have customer service and the TD Bank doesn't have customer service. Nobody has customer service in the banks, and they're proud of it. They're the ones who tell you it takes long. We keep the check that your deposit less time if you go to the machine than if you put it through the
Yes.
teller, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
I said to the teller, what you're telling me is you want to do away with your job. Is that what you're telling me?
Yep. That's exactly what you're saying.
Because that's what your bosses are telling you. Do away with your job, right?
Yep.
And she guided me to the machine.
Machine.
Yeah, she guided me to the machine.
Yeah.
In case I didn't know how to make a deposit on the machine.
But she's taking her time to do
Yes.
it. So
Yes.
she's serving it.
Yes. It. But in small business, we can't afford to do that.
No.
No, if you are a mechanic, you have a mechanic place and you fix cars and you behave like Canadian Tire, you're in 6 months you're not going to have any customers because
Yep.
the bamboozling that you accept as a customer from Canadian Tire, you don't accept from Joe around the block here. You don't accept from the small garage. From the small garage, you want customer service. You want someone to listen to you. The phone system I have now, I use a company that is not the one I used to use 10 years ago. 10 years ago, we had a national company that did our phone. And Caroline did not want to move. And I met one company through Phoenix, Voice to Net that were members in
Kempville.
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 And
Yeah.
I said to Caroline, if we have a problem with the phone and we talk to Voice to Net, we're talking to the owner. If we have a problem with these guys, we're talking to the Ottawa office, the manager of the Ottawa office of this international company. I'd rather be talking to the owner than to the guy in Ottawa, you know. And I said, and they might be very nice. They might be very nice and they might be very kind, but in small business we have to act like that. We have to talk to owners. We cannot talk to other people.
Yeah.
But we have to remember that when we're the owner, that's our strength. That's why people come here, because they're talking to the owner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we recording this? If
Oh, yeah, we're recording. Yeah. Yeah.
I just heard another podcast. It'd be a micro podcast, but you know what?
Canadian Tire's not going to like that.
Well, I might edit out the. It's
Well,
not like
there's nothing wrong with Canadian Tire. I go to Canadian Tire.
Yep.
You know, but in Canadian Tire, I have to chase somebody for help.
All the locations
At
are
Home
like
Hardware, which is a smaller version of Canadian Tire, I don't have to chase anybody for help. They're there. I can see them.
And if you go to Preston Hardware, they're amazing.
That's
At
right.
the door, they're like it's like a Walmart greeter.
Yes.
What are you looking for? You know, like, and
Yes,
they'll point
yes,
you, and you show them what you want to do, and they'll actually escort you right to the.
Yes.
Rather than saying aisle 14, they'll take you there. You know.
Yes.
Yeah. No, they're great.
So you know, but those are difficult things to do, and those are things that we have to do as a small business community. You know, that's big, and that you cannot buy. You cannot say, well, you know, I'll print more pamphlets, and you know, I'll have a page, a web page. That you cannot do. So, you have to employ people who don't piss off the customers, and customers who don't. You have to have customers who don't piss off the people you have, and that's a very difficult balancing act.
Unless, of course, you're dealing with angry dogs and angry cats at the vet's office, in which case no one's going to enjoy getting harpooned by anything. Typically,
at the vet's office, the client is the person, not the animal.
Don't tell that to the animal, though, especially if it's like a 200-pound pup that says no thanks.
Yeah, but there are dog treats that can settle things down, but there are no people treats.
Yeah, there is. You just medicate the client in the process instead of the animal. Oh, shoot, medicated the wrong soul. Quote for the day: your future depends on how you handle destiny. So there you go.
There you go.